How to write high converting content for a landing page. I know a lot of you guys look up how to do that. It's a huge skill set. It's not as hard as you think, and you don't need to hire a professional copywriter to go pull it off. In this video, I'm going to teach you about how to write the copy and how to structure it on a page. Let's dive in. Hey, the first landing page I ever built was actually in college. I was waiting all of college for this class called Internet Marketing. And I go and I sit down in this class, and I think the second day, the teacher stood up and he was just like, I know this is gonna be a hard one, but who could ever define the word or the title SEO? And I was like, ugh. I'd already been doing internet marketing for years by that point. And I was like, are you serious? So what I did is I drew a funnel. And I didn't know that that's what it was called at the time, and they weren't really that popularized of a thing at that point, and not that easy for the rest of us people to go create yet. So I drew a funnel and I was like, I don't wanna be here, I wanna do this. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And to my shock. And so I was like, okay. So I grabbed the other guy who looked like he was bored out of his mind, and we went and we held our own class every day for 3 hours, and our only goal was to make money every single day. At the end of the semester, we had to stand back up and share what we had learned. This is the first time I ever built a landing page, and this is exactly how it happened. So before I actually show you how the page is structured, because I'm gonna draw it right here, how I like to structure the page, I wanna teach you 3 things that you need to have ready as kind of page assets in order to make the page look good. So let's dive in. All right, the first asset you need, or your page is gonna suck. Close your eyes for a second, or don't. I want you to imagine this. You've had a big, long, hard day. You go home, you go back to your place, wherever it is, and you walk up the staircase to your, let's say it's an apartment door. You walk up to your apartment door and you open up that apartment door, and you remember the sound of the door? That sound of the door, you open it on up, kick your shoes off, and this immediately, you have this ridiculously incredible smell, like, oh, that smell, oh, I'm so hungry, oh, that smell. And you take your shoes off and you go and you walk across the carpet floor, and there's that spot in your carpet that always creaks, you know what I mean? And it creaks, and you walk around and look around in the kitchen, and there's just this ridiculous spread of food on the table, and you're just like, oh. And whoever your loved one is, you go in and you give big hugs and kisses, and you like have a great night together and enjoy the evening. Okay, let me ask you something real quick. What color was the door that you walked up to? Let me know in the comments. See, my door was blue. I'm thinking of a very specific apartment I used to live in. When you open up the door, what did you smell? What kind of food? For me, it was like stuffing and Thanksgiving, but a lot of people say other things. What was it for you? Fascinating. What did the sound make when you opened the door? That spot in the carpet? What did it sound like to you? Someone try and make that sound in the comments. I was like, it's funny, mine was, okay? There's a very specific point to this, okay? When you go and you look at the spread of the food, what kind of food was it? Guys, this is the power of story. I said the same thing to all of you watching this, but you all experienced it very differently, and we all recalled different memories. You have to understand that if you don't have a story on your landing page, even if it's small and it's a single sentence, they have a very hard time trying to go where you're bringing them. All right? Story is so powerful because it makes the listener the protagonist. Wait a second, the door was blue for me? What color was it for you? The door, the sound was different? What was it for you? The food was different? What was it for you? What story allows you to do as a marketer is pull together all these different backgrounds and pull it down to a single thing and make everyone relate, even though it's not actually recalling the exact same thing as you're describing. Does that make sense? That's the power of story. It's the first asset you need in order to make a squeeze page, a landing page really, really good, and you need story. So how do we tell story? Similar to what I just said, you need to get descriptive. You need to start talking about the environment. You need to pull in all 5 senses as much as possible. And at the very, very least, you have to understand that story is the skill set of saying, hey, I see you over here. You're over here, but you're looking forward and you're like, man, I really wish I was over there. I really wish I was over here. That looks like happy land. That looks like fun land. And your story needs to describe storyland, right? It needs to describe happy land. It needs to describe the goal. Oh, this is where I want to be. This is what life is like at the end over here. That's the first asset you need, or your landing page probably was not going to do very well. Before we go into the last 2 pieces here and show you the actual page layout that I like, please hit the subscribe and the like button. I'd also like to know if you are going to use this stuff on your landing pages. Did I just give you a raise? All right, let me know in the comments. All right, guys, here's the second resource you need to have available to make a landing page awesome. You need to be able to think through what objections they're going to have when they see your landing page. All right, so this is how I think about it. If this is where they are and I'm saying this is where you're trying to go, right? That's the basic way to draw all sales and story scripts. You have to realize that not everyone just goes whoop straight over and they're ready to buy. In fact, most of the time there's these little blocks along the way and someone's like, wait a second, I don't believe you. I don't think this product can do what you say it's going to do. And you have to be able to answer that. Like, well, yes, it can, and here's a story about it. Or they'll move down the line, they'll be like, wait a second, here's another block, right? This is all sales psychology. There's another big block, like, I don't know, okay, I see that you say that it can work, and all right, I kind of believe you, but I don't know if I can do it myself, right? And you're like, oh man, a lot of scripting is around, I see that that's real, but can I also get that result? The can I also is that's usually the most challenging one to break. And then we're like, oh my gosh, I see that I can do it as well. I see that the thing works itself, but man, this one right here, I don't think that I have the resources to pull it. I don't have the time to do this, right? And you have to be able to answer those. So this is a little micro stories you have to add, otherwise your landing page, your scripting doesn't work at all. All right, now the last piece you need before we actually dive into the page itself is you need to be able to pull together testimonials and others' experiences that are not yours, right? So on one side, you're saying, oh my gosh, thank you. Of course this works for you. Of course you can pull it off, and of course you have the resources, but it works so much better when you have somebody else who is also saying that. And they're saying, no, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth, right? That gets them around the objection faster than you probably can, right? Then you get another person saying, no, I realized that I could pull it off as well. Boom, right? And then the very next page is like, oh, you know what? I realized I've got the resources for it. So I would get a minimum of 3 testimonials per landing page, per sales page. That right there for me has been the sweet spot. Okay, I'm just gonna show you guys the page layout that I like to use the most. And I use this layout all the time. It's actually the landing page layout that I think I use just about every single time. This is it. Okay, so we have a page right here. We got a page, and at the top, I've got a headline. All right, so I'm gonna put my headline right here, and then I almost always put a video, right? Sometimes the video is the biggest thing that will get people to not go moving forward. So because it distracts them and slows them down. So sometimes the video is the very first thing I take off. Then I immediately put a button. Okay, I put some kind of call to action, as well as a countdown clock. Okay, I put a clock as well, and I'm like, hey, this is what you're gonna lose if you don't move forward. From there, the majority of the people who start to scroll down, they're the people you have to sell a little bit harder, okay? Most of the time, especially if there's someone who's in your following, that's all they need to see. That's it. That can be the end of the squeeze page, the end of the landing page itself. But the other thing I start putting in is I need to answer those objections, right? So I'll start putting in stories, and I gotta answer the objections right here. And I'm like, cool, we answered those objections. Remember those 3 little micro stories? And then I'll put a call to action. CTA. Right, then we'll put in testimonials from other people. And then we put a CTA, so testimonials, and then a CTA. And you'll notice that throughout the page, what we're doing is we're giving multiple opportunities for them on the page to move forward. So we put several call to actions throughout. It's call to action, right? Then we go for the next thing to move them forward, and then call to action. And the next thing move forward, call to action. That pattern right there is like sales 101, and it's what I used to do when I was a door-to-door salesman. It's answer the objection, go straight back in for the close. Answer the next concern, go right back in for the close. That right there has been one of the most profitable page layouts and landing page layouts I've ever used, and I hope that it's gonna help you. Got a free gift for you. Go to launchforprofit.com, and not only will you see that exact page layout, you're also going to get a free guide showing you my favorite campaigns to do on the internet that has made us a lot of cash. It's totally free. The link is in the description. Go to launchforprofit.com.